Well, hi everyone. I am Tam V, your happy hostess, and I'm so excited to have another really interesting discussion with my dear friend, Karen Chabot. Hi, Karen.
Hi, it's an honor again to be on your podcast and talk about this really interesting topic.
Oh boy, do we ever talk about the best stuff ever? Honestly, if anybody closes the door and leaves Karen and I in a room, oh gosh, the chatter doesn't stop because the planets, the stars, the numbers, they all coalesce, and we have so much to say about it. And it's always like such a lively conversation. Um, Today's conversation is really going to be interesting. The topic is Donald Trump and George Washington. Now, Karen, I don't even know if you know that because I'm very much into what's going on in geopolitically, right? I'm always watching all of that stuff. And you might not know this, but there's quite a bit of discussion in some of the alternative media about the similarities between George and Donald, but not from a perspective like you're about to share. People talk about, they're both presidents, they were both wealthy families, they both had this interest in real estate, but I think you're going to take this to another level. Yeah?
Yes, I hope so. I can't really comment on levels because I can't compare. I haven't listened to what you've been listening to. I don't know. I'm not a news watcher, as you know. I'm just not political. And, I care. Doesn't mean I don't care. It just means that it just doesn't light me up to watch the news. I don't know that I believe half of it anyway. So television, they're telling their vision, and I'm supposed to discern which vision is the truth. I give up. So I don't know. I don't. Yeah, how did you know that people are talking about this comparison? I'm shocked. I thought
Yeah.
this would be
So,
news. It's not
so
news.
first of all, I am looking at alternative news. I never would watch some of the standard mainstream media stations. Never, never, never. I stopped that 20 years ago. I'm talking about alternative information, and I'm not talking about comparing astrology or cards. Like that's a whole different thing. That's what I mean when I say we're going to go next level. So,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
yeah, a couple of things that are really obvious is they're both presidents. They both had a lot of interest in their physicality. They both cared about public opinion,
Yeah.
both wealthy families and both involved with real estate. But I know that you want to talk about other things. So let's talk about let's talk about the cards and the stars. Where do we even begin?
Okay, well, I can tell you that there wasn't a specific day that I remember getting this knowing. I don't know what else to call it. And I wondered why I had to know this information because I'm really not that person that really cares about such things. I would prefer to know about, I don't know. Anyways, but so I was given this or I tuned into it. I'm not sure. And then, you would be the girl that should have downloaded something like this, but it was me. So I of course dismissed it for a while. I thought, okay, so big deal. They're probably twin souls. Well, carry on. And okay, what does that matter? And then another message came, and it was almost a year later. It just recently. I thought, oh, I get why I was told this. It's because their souls are from the same, almost like I'm going to give an example of a worm. If you cut a worm in half, it will literally separate and develop its own internal organs and become sovereign, each of them. That's just the nature of worms, right? So I hate to compare presidents to worms, but if we understand the concept that it's possible that even the ovum divides into two, so this concept of one soul divided into two humans shouldn't be that foreign. So then I understood that, wow, this isn't about politics. They were telling me this because this is about soul, the science of the soul, as well as a message about beginnings and endings in the circle of life. And to notice now so many people don't know what's going to happen to the world, and what's going to happen first to our country will impact the whole world. So what's happening to our country right now is it's crumbling, and it is crumbling in a way that we could call it a purification and not a negative. So it's purifying outdated systems that are no longer supporting joy, love, truth, and all the coherent emotions we should experience as humans. Instead, it makes President Trump look like he's doing something wrong because crumbling is associated with negativity, but it's actually all in divine order. And he may not even know that he's signed up for this soul contract. He may be
Right.
completely oblivious, but he's walking around doing exactly as he pleases, which is following his heart, following his soul contract, and getting rid of this and that while the rest of us are judging it, possibly because we don't know. And we wonder if that maybe he shouldn't crumble that, maybe he shouldn't crumble this. He is doing exactly what he needs to do. He he um, he is the president of that signed the Constitution. He is George Washington. George Washington crumbled the English Parliament in a way where we could be free. And did you know the English Parliament are all reptilians?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. I mean, look at Prince Charles. Does he not look like one? Anyway, so I there's a lot of evil there, and so the evil is this is really about the signs of the soul and evil versus good and the light and the love. So George Washington, cheers to him for getting our people, our American citizens, away from this English Parliament that was so destructive and evil, and giving us a chance at a constitution that promised freedom until around the 1800s when our country incorporated. When it became a corporation, then the shadow government, the cabal, and the Rothschilds and all these people came in and twisted things up. Big pharma started emerging, and anyways, it was the demise of our integrity, and we became an ego system and less of an ecosystem
Right.
in the
Beautifully said.
1800s. Yes, and so we carried on, right? And here we are realizing that again we're facing the cabal, evil. I don't know who to point to. I don't really know their names, and I think that they prefer to be the invisible enemy because invisible enemies are the most powerful, so they don't want to be named. So we just know that they're there, and I don't know if Trump even knows. Maybe he does, but he is literally bringing our country into a new state of being where we will no longer be citizens. We will be nationals because our country will be separated and divided into 2 states, 3 states, or one state, or into little sections where people will no longer, the corporation will be gone, it will be dissolved,
Yeah.
and we will be nationals choosing which nation serves us, which one we align with, what do we believe in, and inside these nations we'll be choosing each other,
Mm-hmm.
choosing the people, choosing homesteads, choosing community, choosing values that actually support us, living in harmony with nature and not being run by this cabal dictatorial. They're trying to kill us, let's face it. Really, they'd like to just dumb us down so that we could just get sick and keep buying big pharmaceuticals and keep paying them. But ultimately, we will live a healthier life in
Yeah.
about 2 years. President Trump will stay on for another 2 years, and that is the marker right around that time where our country dissolves into small nations.
Well, catch this. So, everything that I don't know if you intuited this. I don't know how you came to this. Everything you're talking about is everything I'm seeing in alternative media. People are awakening. Everything you just said, like 100%, it's already out there. And
Oh,
this is interesting. You talked about George Washington and Declaration of Independence. Did you know that there's many people are saying that President Trump signed the Declaration of Independence? I don't know if it was 2020 or 2021 at Mount Rushmore. He actually said it out loud. I remember that, him saying, I just finished signing the Declaration of Independence. He's already taken us out of the corporation. We are now a republic. It's
oh,
there has not been public announcements yet.
Oh,
About breaking up into little nations that I just heard you speak, I hadn't heard that yet, but it does make sense. What you're talking
yeah,
about does
yes.
make sense. Um,
Yes, little kin's domains are really ideal. If you look up that term, kin's domains, there's a book series called The Ringing Cedar, The Ringing Cedars, plural, and it is a series of I think 12 books, and Anastasia is the main character in the book, and she has invented this incredible concept that she calls the kin's domain, which are homesteads. And she gives us templates and reasons and ways and methods for redefining our society and the structure in which we live so that we can all be more joyful, healthy, and aligned with nature.
well, catch this. Now we're talking the same thing. I was just listening to a podcast. Oh my golly, his name just went right out of my head. He was being interviewed by Zach Bush was being interviewed by Joe Rogan. I was just listening to this podcast. It was fascinating. And it's exactly what you're talking about. He's talking about the indigenous people of the Amazon and the fact that they live in groups of 120 people only. When the tribe gets to around 120, young tribesmen take their family and they have to move. They collect their people, they go and they start another group of people. They live in these small groups. I don't know if they've learned over thousands of years that beyond that it gets too big and people disagree and it becomes unmanageable, but around 120 people can live cohesively,
Yeah,
everybody sharing and growing food for one another. they're
yes,
they're living cohesively, really is the right word, and in love and of service to each other. So it's amazing if we can come back around. I've always said for a long time, it takes a village, right? It's the
yeah.
truth. Whoever said that, it takes a village. It's the truth.
Hmm.
Nobody would want to raise a child by themselves. It takes family members and friends, and so these little tribes is perfect.
Yeah, it really is.
Let's circle it back to George and Trump. What are more like what have you discovered through the lens of like I want to go back to something that you said. You said President Trump is working from his heart. Following his heart is the language. I wrote it down. President Trump is following his heart. And I instantly said, oh my gosh, he is a Leo rising, 29-degree Leo rising. The Leo zodiac is about the heart. And
Yes.
when you said that, I was like, oh, is that what she's referring to? Tell me more about your take on the cards and the astrology of these two amazing men.
Yeah, so he also was born on an eclipse. You know that too, I'm
Oh,
sure.
yes.
Yes, he embodies eclipse-like energy. So, and that is the most transformative energy of the entire year, the day of an eclipse.
Yeah.
So he embodies that as well as he is eclipsing things that are outdated at the moment. So think of him as Mr. Eclipser, and he's here to do that. So we can have a purification because after an eclipse, it's like the calm after the storm, and this is what is needed. So without judgment, without choosing side, left, right, political, Democrat, Republican, we cannot go there. We must stay in the science of the soul and study the fact that this is actually about an age of truth that is coming in. The
Yes.
Kali Yuga is finishing and the Sat Yuga is beginning. We're stepping into the age of truth, and Trump is helping us to do that, whether you agree with the way he's doing it or I don't know what they're saying in the news. I don't follow it, but I know there's a lot of people really caught up in the anger about it. But if you could let that go, then without that anger, step into gratitude and just allow the flow to happen and visualize and feel more than visualize, feel what you want the world to look like. Feel it, like really, what does it look like? And then put yourself in it, and what does it feel like? If you do that, instead of being angry about this and angry about that, you will actually be part of the new world, the Sat Yuga. You will actually create a new world. But if you get stuck in the anger and you buy into all the television, then You're wasting your energy, your beautiful, powerful energy. We are all great, unbounded beings that can create this new world, and we can do it quicker and less painfully, with more grace, if we all united, let go of anger and visualize the world we want to live in, embody it with our emotions and feel it. Feeling is everything. Now, what I'd like to say about cardology is I was curious once I kept hearing, Trump and Washington are the same soul. I'm like, okay, great, whatever. Um, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, but this is important. They'd said, but okay, so it's about bookending our country. So Washington bookended, the beginning, and now Trump is bookending the ending. And so beginnings and endings are a circle. So we are one big circle right now. We're closing the circle. And what this is serving, how this message is helping us is to relax, to know that we are closing the circle and the Sat Yuga is upon us. It's not mayhem and we're all going to blow up. Don't go there. We really are going to step in. And if you can really embody the feelings that you want to feel in this new world, then we step in quicker. Now, Trump was born on June 14th, okay, in 1946. He was born on a day of the Three of Diamonds, which is a star code number 29, okay? Yeah, she's got it. And his internal self, because we have three primary layers, and we actually have six, but we'll start with three, not to confuse people.
Right.
The internal layer is the Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades is literally the card of the entire deck. It embodies the mysteries between life and death. He's that right there. He comes through this frequency, and this Three of Diamonds literally is the card of financial creativity. He wrote a book on it. I think even the book's titled Financial Creativity. It is the card of financial creativity. And if you're not creative with your finances, if you were born into this Three of Diamonds energy, then it can actually backfire on you and you could become more worried and concerned about money and go into more poverty consciousness. But if you can rise up, you can go into financial creativity, which is what Trump did and wrote a book on it. Now, if we look at the decanate card of Trump, it's number 22, which is the Nine of Clubs. Okay, so every card has a number and it goes in an order. So it's the 22nd card in the deck in the proper order of the deck. And when we compare it to George Washington, born February 22nd, has a 48 as a decanate, which is the Nine of Spades. So what that does is the Nine of Clubs and the Nine of Spades form the Black Nine Stargate.
Oh.
And stargates are gateways. So they come in to transform again. It's so let me just say this, the Black Nine Stargate. Yeah, that. So Trump is the one with the clubs and Washington is the one with the spades. And together, these two cards, the other two nines are red, they're hearts and diamonds. These black nines form a literal stargate, seriously. And they are the stargates that purify, destroy, and destabilize so that we can have a beginning again. So then we go into the one after the nine, right? So the beginning. So together, they have done this eclipse-like beginning and ending of our country with this Black Nine Stargate. And the owner of the Black Nine Stargate, if we add these two star codes together, 29 and 48, and then subtract 52, it's 18, which is the card of the eclipse. Why? Because eclipses happen in cycles of 18 years and 18 months. Okay, so now that's NASA, that's astronomy. So the eclipse card is the 18th card in the deck, governs the Black Nine Stargate. So now we have George Washington born also as a Three of Diamonds. Hello. And
Wow.
that's 29. So they're both born as a Three of Diamonds on their natal. One of the three significant cards, the natal one is probably the most significant, and they're both Three of Diamonds. And then his internal card, George Washington. Did I write that down? Oh, a second. He's a double nine of spades. So it was a nine of spades again, right? Yes. So double nine of spades. So they carry the same frequencies, resonant frequencies in their
Wow.
birth signatures. And they both look alike in a way with these large bodies. They're tall,
Mhm.
and they both have a um, they both had an older brother, by the way, that they loved that
Oh,
passed on.
yes. Yep.
Yes, yes. They have there's a lot in common if you study their charts, their history. I had, AI put it all together for me so I could see it more clearly. They both really weren't political. Washington was more military and Trump was more business.
Right.
And then they, somehow ended up in leadership roles, which, wasn't by accident. So really, what are the odds that they would come in through the three of diamonds axes, which is also 6 months away, four of clubs. So they both have a four of clubs on their reciprocal card,
Yep.
which is always 6 months away, the mirror side of us. It's almost like the conscious and the unconscious.
Right.
It's almost like two sides of the coin. Just because one coin is on the ground face up, the tails don't exist. No, the tails are still there. So that's what the reciprocal card is. Just because we don't really see it or pay attention to it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So that card for both these men is the four of clubs, star
Yep.
code 17. So they came through the same axes. And if you understand that the deck of cards having 52 codes in them, the only way that this could happen is 1 and 2, 26 possibilities.
I'm looking
1 in
for my
26.
four of clubs. I have to stop you right there. This is so powerful for a lot of people who are following alternative news like I am. The number 17 is the number of legacy. It's the number
Oh,
that represents legacy, but it's beyond that. It's the 17th letter of the alphabet is the letter Q, Q representing God.
oh,
Yeah, that's some information that I follow that it's not alternative, it's kind of mainstream now. So that is fascinating. So the reciprocal is the four of clubs, representing legacy and God and the letter Q. And anybody who watches this, wink, wink, Q, have fun with that. I think that adds like another layer to my thinking. So and the eclipse, boink.
yeah, yeah, that's powerful.
It's super powerful. That might have went over your head, but for those who watch this, they'll get it.
I think I got the gist of it. Yeah, I followed. Well, anyways, so what other questions you want me to answer, or where
Um,
do you want to go with this information?
well, for me, because I understand the cards and I understand reciprocals and all of that, I was able to follow that really closely. Particularly, I really loved how you explained the bookends. We have George Washington, nine of spades, Donald Trump, nine of clubs, and they're closing the loop. And I loved that you said that, closing the circle. And don't we love it when we close a circle? You talked about the Sat Yuga, and though that's not a term that I'm very familiar with, I understand that it's beneficent, right? It's benevolent. It's a good season of life and of time. And you talked about it being truth telling. And another interesting thing that I've picked up over my years in astrology is that we are in the 21st century. The 21 is the number of truth telling.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, like how lovely that here we go into the 21st century, into a season of truth telling and the Sat Yuga. So,
That I love when things align. Yes, when they align, that's a message that we should look deeper.
mm,
Yeah, yeah.
mm.
Sat means truth. Yuga means cycle.
Um,
And
the
yeah.
science of the soul is language you've used a lot, which really resonates with me. Is that is that your term? Is that a term? Is this quantum science? Talk to me about that language because I love language and that was just beautiful.
Thank you. I don't know where I got that. I don't know that it's a
That's the
thing.
blues.
Maybe yes. Yes, basically, science of the soul refers to the patterns that we incarnate with continually. And repeatedly as well as simultaneously.
Mm.
And these patterns are how we are wired. And it was fascinating to me to know that certain souls are wired for certain events to unfold. Like I thought it was interesting that Christopher Columbus was designed to, if I don't even know if he was the guy, but whoever the explorers are, because now I'm, doubting all of history. Who knows really what happened? But there are people that are explorers that come in and discover new countries. There are people who come and start new countries, people who come and end countries, people who come in and revolutionize the way we see war or the way we see how to structure an economy. And then there are people who just come in to love, truly love. And so these are the unique differences in our souls that we are specifically wired to do certain things. And then it comes down to contracts in a way that we agreed upon when we were created by the creator, and the creator had in mind certain things that we were going to do so that we could learn more about love and more about ourselves, and for us to stay in a blueprint that has lots of wiggle room, but to stay in the blueprint of what we were wired for, which is why it's so important to know yourself,
Yeah.
to discover yourself. In these two men, Trump and Washington, had a soul contract, and they are wired to do exactly what they're doing. It's not that, nature versus nurture, that this type of mother created this type of man.
No.
This is beyond even genealogy.
Right.
This is beyond, this is deep stuff that's untangible, and it's
It's
about imprints that we can't see.
is it a quantum entanglement of sorts?
Not necessarily. I call it quantum entanglement more like what I when I see somebody looped in with their imprint card.
Okay.
They're not really entangled. They are really one. They are one.
Fractals?
They could be fractals of one soul. You could say that. Yes, we all have many, many fractals of our soul experiencing very similar lifetimes in different realms and realities, timelines, and dimensions. And as many stars as there are in the sky are as many fractals of who we are, even our names, even our birthdays, even the people, the players on our game of life can be the same. Just different culture, different clothes, sometimes different gender, but we're learning on a feeling level always.
Mm.
So, yes, that's the science of the soul to the best I could describe.
Well, that was beautiful, and maybe we should close the loop on this discussion. And I really like to always ask a guest, what is the one message, idea, or thought you'd like to have our audience think about after we shut this down? Like what is it you want to express?
To relax, to breathe, to find joy in the little things, to ground in nature is more important than you ever could know. Barefoot on the grass or the sand or wherever you go. Get in the ocean, go in a clean body of water, a river, a lake, hug a tree, connect with nature, because nature is where God lives, and God is everywhere, really. But we are nature. We're inseparable from nature. And what has happened to our society is we have separated ourselves from nature. So we've separated our own divinity from our own selves. So to remember our unique divinity, to remember that this is all a game. Game's almost over. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And we drank the nectar of amnesia before we got here, but we must remember who we are, and a way to do that is to connect with nature. So I hope that that message is what you know stays with you after this podcast.
That's beautiful. And I think with that, I want to say to the audience that's listening, for me, like the takeaway is open your mind to consider the science of the soul and start exploring who you are through the cards and through the stars. I believe God gifted us with this information so that we could know ourselves more, and so that we could come back to love. I think if we're going to close the loop, let's close it on love, and let's just bring us all together. So, Karen, please tell people how they can learn more about you and learn more from you. Where should they go?
You could buy my book on Amazon, and it's 52 cards and the star codes. That's the title. My name is Karen Chabot. So you can look that up, or you can actually book a reading if you want. I can help you learn about yourself, and we can also do a private lesson. My Star Code school is full right now. The enrollment is it's past that time, so I'm not going to probably do that till next year. But I'm happy to do private lessons. But readings might be just as good to find out just one-on-one with me more about who you are and which axes you were born through.
Yeah. And so, to what website is that, Karen?
Oh, sorry. 52starcodes.org.
Perfect. 52starcodes.org is where you can learn more about Karen. And I am Tam, and I am artist, author, and astrology and alchemy junkie. I just love these discussions, and I thank you all for listening. This episode is brought to you by the letters U and I. I am who I am because you are who you are. You and I are one. Mwah. Be well. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.